Lichess is a free, open source platform with everything you need to learn and play chess. For 2026, I'm starting from scratch with a brand new profile to go through the site step by step and show you why I think it is the best tool going if you want to both improve and enjoy your game. Okay, let's go to lichess.org, lichess.org, and we're met with the Lichess homepage. You don't actually have to register for a profile to use the site. You can see here there's already options for me to play various time control games, look at blog posts, see other people's games, etc. It does mean that you wouldn't get access to absolutely everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a profile and then have a look at what the site has to offer. There is a lot of stuff on Lichess, so I'm going to try and focus on what I think is most relevant. And obviously you can go and investigate every other part of the site yourself. I would like to point out that I'm in no way affiliated with Lichess. I'm not being sponsored for this. I'm not being paid to do this video or indeed anything else on my YouTube. So I'm just doing this because I really, really like the site. I think it is the perfect tool for players up to a really high level in order to play and improve. And, you know, unless you're like a master player or pushing to be a top professional, you really don't need anything else, in my opinion, as a near 1800 rated player. Now, one thing I do want to point out on this homepage is this sentence here where it says, Lichess is a free, really, Libra, no ads, open source chess server. And there's a link here that says about Lichess. So if we click on that, we can go and read a lot more about the site, from its history, its ethos. We can have a look at frequently asked questions, contact details. We can read the terms of service, which is very, very useful, especially for things like fair play rules. There is stuff in the terms of service about having multiple accounts on Lichess. I did check it and I deleted my old Lichess profile before making this video. So this new profile shouldn't contravene any of their terms of service. There's also guidelines in there. If you're under the age of 15 and you want to join the site, for example, there are certain restrictions that you might want to be aware of. So go and check that out on this page. And there's lots of other information here that you can have a look through on your own. But let's go back to the homepage. And here in the top right corner, I'm going to click register. Now, it asks me to choose a username, a password, and enter my email address. Let's try the username Tattoo Knight, because I like knights and castles, I play chess, and I've got a lot of tattoos, so why not? That seems to be available. Let's choose a password, and then it wants me to enter my email address. It asks you to agree to the terms of service, so you can go and read that here on the link if you want to, and the privacy policy. Then it asks you to agree to these articles. I agree I will receive no time assistance during my games, that I will be always respectful to other players, very important. I will not create multiple accounts, as I've already mentioned. I have checked and doing this should be fine. And I will agree to follow all Lichess policies. So we click all of those on and we hit register. It sends you an email so that you can verify your email address. So go to your inbox, find that email, click the verification link, and then you'll be set up and ready to use your new Lichess profile. After verifying my email, it links me through to a page which asks me if I want to then sign in. I do so using the credentials that I chose, and I'm met with this page here. And this is our profile. This is the Tattoo Knight profile in its kind of bare bones starting existence. Now, I did realize in my last clip I had cut out some of the top corner of the screen on that. Apologies. Basically, if you go to lichess.org and you've registered for a profile, but you're not signed in, you can find the sign in function in the top right, next to where we clicked register in the previous clip. We're back on the Lichess homepage as a registered, signed in profile. So let's have a look at the rest of the site. On this homepage, you have a menu that goes across the top. The logo here takes you back to this homepage. Then you have a play tab, puzzles, learn, watch, community, tools, and a donate function. And we're going to look at each of these in turn as we go. Over here on the right, you have a search function. You have a notifications panel for any challenges that you're sent by people who want to play a game against you. You have the general notifications bell to tell you when you got a message or something similar like that. Someone responds to a forum post of yours or other notifications that you can get on the site. You've got access to your profile via your username here, which gives you a menu of various other parts of the site that you can configure. We'll go through that in a sec. Then here on the left-hand side, this will show a list of things that you might want to do, like join a stream or join a tournament or a simultaneous, something like that. And then in this space here, there will be a feed of news and information from profiles that you follow. So obviously this is a brand new profile. I haven't followed any other players on here yet. When I do, I will be able to see their activity, when they post a blog, when they respond to a forum post, for example, things like this. In the center, you have the gameplay panel, and it's got 3 tabs. At the moment, it's showing the quick pairing tab. So I can choose any one of these time controls to play a rated game against someone within the play pool, bullet, blitz, rapid, classical, etc. There's also a custom button so that I can choose my own controls. There is a lobby tab. So here I can see games that other people have created, custom games that they've created, where I could play, whatever kind of time control they've chosen to put up there. People put some very random things up there, so take a look at that. There's also a settings cog here where you can choose whether you want to include people who are looking for variant games like King of the Hill, etc. You can choose which time controls you want to see, whether you want an increment or not, whether you want to see casual and rated games, and you can set a rating filter. So if you only want to play players who are, very highly rated, you can just put this up and that's all that you will see. So you can have a play around with that to get the settings that you like. The third tab in the play panel is the correspondence tab. And this is a list of correspondence games that people have created. So 3 days per move, 7 days, 14 days, whatever they've chosen to create. Again, rated or casual. So if I want to play against Vopros here, I can click on this and join the game with him. Or I can create my own correspondence game to appear in this menu. On the right-hand side, there are a couple more functions that essentially help you to do, a similar thing. You can again create a lobby game from this button here, and it has a slightly different menu, but you can choose the same sort of parameters like time controls, whether it's casual or rated, etc. Create a lobby game by pressing the button at the bottom. You can challenge a friend of yours on the site. So by pressing that button, you can choose who you want to actually play, challenge a friend. You can choose which side you want to play, again, casual, rated, all that kind of thing. And you can choose to play against the computer. So here I can choose whether it's a real-time game or a correspondence or unlimited time. I can choose the strength of the computer that I want to face, which side I play, and press the button to begin that game. And also at the top of all 3 of those, you'll see there's this drop down where you can again choose if you want to play a variant. So then if I scroll down, there are various other widgets that take you to different parts of the site, different content. This is the current live game on Lichess TV. So if I want to check out these 2 guys play, I can click on this and go and see their game. There's then different blog posts that have been created. So I can scroll along to find something that I want to read. Let's say I want to read GM Pooley's Why Development Matters and How to Use It with Purpose. I can click on this and it will take me to that blog post. There's also then the puzzle of the day. So if you want to solve puzzles, you could start with this one by clicking on here to solve. You've got another donate button. So you can go and donate money towards Lichess and its operating costs. Even though it is free, you don't have to do this. People do choose to donate to help keep the site running. There's also a merch store if you want to get a t-shirt or something like that, and that also helps to support the site. And finally, down here, we've got a news feed, which is a Lichess news feed. This is stuff directly from Lichess that they want you to know about, news about tournaments, news about, kind of games of the year, news about whatever they want to kind of promote. This is the Lichess news feed, and an open tournaments widget. So I can choose any different type of tournament from here. I can click more to see more tournaments. We'll look at that in the tournaments page. And then finally, at the bottom, you've also got the small print menu. You can find your FAQs, you can find your terms of service, etc. And you can check out Lichess's other social media links. So that's an overview of the homepage and how to navigate it from the start. The next thing that I want to do is take a look at my profile. If I go to the top right corner and click on my username, click profile, it takes me to my profile page. It's brand new, so there's nothing in here. And as you can see, Lichess gives you some prompts of things that you might want to do. It also shows me that I've got a 0% profile completion and functions to edit that profile or access things like my Open Explorer, look at exporting games, my friends list, and more. Everything is set to 0 all across the board, all the different formats, no games played, no puzzles won, etc. So it's brand new. And it even says I've been a member only since the 22nd of Jan 2026, which is the date I'm recording this. Now, what I want to do is I just want to add a little bit of information to my profile. So I'm going to go to edit profile here. I'm going to add a biography, which I've already copied. You can set a flair, right? So you can choose like an emoji to go alongside your profile. Let's see what they've got for knight. They don't have anything for knight. Do they have anything for tattoo? They don't have anything for tattoo either. Let's go for swords. Jing, yeah, why not? Put some swords on there. There's no profile picture on Lichess. The flare is kind of the graphic thing that you can add to your profile to make it what you want. I can then select my country or region. I'm in the United Kingdom, and I can choose my location. I'm going to choose to leave that a bit blank. I don't really feel the need to put my location into the site. I can add my real name if I want. I've already put Anthony in my biography, so that's fine. I can then add my ratings if I like. I don't have a FIDE rating. I don't have a USCF rating. I do have an ECF rating, which is currently 1784, and other ratings, etc. I can also put my social media links. So if I want to put my YouTube, I can just get my YouTube URL, put it here, and then go submit. The submit button happens to be hidden by my camera view at the moment. It's in the bottom right-hand corner. It's a big blue button. It says submit. Now that I've done that, it shows that I've now got a profile completion of 66%. If I click that link, it takes me back to the edit profile page to put in more information that I haven't put in there. And it now shows my ECF rating up here. It's not showing my biography at the moment. I think that might be because this panel here is shown to new profiles. And once that disappears, it might show more information that I've entered. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I think is going on there. But now that I've added some information to my profile, I am going to choose a bit more about how the site looks and feels. If I go up to my username and the person icon here, I click on that, I've got a preferences menu. I've also got these kind of quick menus where I can change the language that I want. I can change the sound set, whether I want it to be silent, or all these different sound sets that you can have a play around with. And I can select the volume that I want my sounds to be. I can choose my background. So I can have a light theme or a dark theme, which is what it's currently set to. I can even choose a picture. So if I click on picture, there's a few different ones that you can choose from, like so. Or I can put in the URL to an image online and have that displayed. So I set this up in advance. If I go and search for chess in Google and I pick a picture, let's say this picture here from Wikipedia, if I right click and go copy image link, go back here and then paste that URL in here, then you don't even need to press enter. I just did it by habit. Then it comes up, and now that is the background image to my Lichess. Okay. If you want to use a local picture, something that you've got that isn't hosted online, you would have to host it somewhere to be able to get a URL for it. I actually have played around with that, and there's a site called Post Images that I've used. So here I've uploaded the channel art for my YouTube channel. If I click on this, sorry, let me go back. If I click on share, it has got various different URLs. There's a direct link here. So if I copy the direct link, go back here, go to my picture settings and put that URL in. Now I've got the YouTube channel art as my background for my Lichess, which is pretty cool. But for the purpose of this, I'm just going to put this back to dark because I think it's just a lot clearer to see everything that's on the site. If I want to choose my piece sets and my board, let's start with board as it's the top one. Here I can choose what color I want my board to be, whether I want it blue or green or whatever. I personally really like a maple wood board. So there you go. I can even choose to have a 3D board, the brightness and the color hue of it as well. Let's choose my piece set. And the piece sets are all displayed here. The one I actually like is this one. I believe it's called Merida. That's right. Yeah, I can do that here. So now, if I just go back to the home page, you can see that these things are now displaying the board that I've chosen and the piece set that I've chosen. So there you go. Now, there are loads of other ways that you can customize the look and feel of Lichess using an extension from like Stylus or something like that. That's maybe a topic for another video. It is something that I have played around with before. So maybe I'll do a video on that in the future if anyone is interested. Let's go back to the top right corner and look at the preferences menus. So there's loads of different stuff that you can configure on the site. You can see you've got a whole menu down here on the left of things that you can change. And it starts with your edit profile page that we've already looked at. You've then got display options. So you can choose your piece animation, whether it shows material difference during a game, board highlights, last move and check, piece destinations, valid moves and pre-moves, where you want your coordinates if you want them at all, whether there's a move list whilst playing. I don't really ever find that very useful, so I always put that one on never. Move notation, whether you want chess piece symbol notation or letters. I prefer letters. Whether you want to go into Zen mode. So this kind of cuts out a lot of the kind of surrounding noise and helps you just focus on the board itself. And you can choose whether you have that all the time or just within game. Show board resize handle, no in initial position or always. Show player ratings. So you can turn off player ratings if you don't want to see how well rated your opponent is. You can turn that off. Helps you to focus on maybe just playing chess because you don't have any kind of rating anxieties. Oh, they're higher rated or lower rated than me or whatever. And you can choose whether you turn off player flares. So this is the cross swords that I added to my profile. I don't have to see those from other profiles if I don't want to. Chess clock. You can choose whether it shows tenths of a second, whether you have progress bars of the clock running down during your games. And we'll look at some of these. You'll be able to see some of these in action later when we actually get on to play a game, right? You can choose whether it plays a sound when time gets critically low. You can choose whether you want to offer to give more time to people, and I always have that selected. I think that's a nice thing to do sometimes. And you can also show on the left on mobile devices, which I don't actually know what that is. Game behavior. How do you move the pieces? Either click two squares or drag a piece. Whether you want to play pre-moves during your opponent's turn. Yes, I absolutely want to be able to play pre-moves during my opponent's turn if I'm playing a bullet game, for example. You can choose whether you offer take-backs. Now, this is something that I personally don't like having on, so I always select this to never. You can put it just for in casual games only, but I personally think that to improve at chess, you have to live with your decisions. So I never allow take-backs on my games. You can choose whether you promote to a queen automatically. When pre-moving is probably a good idea, or you can turn it off or have it on always. Claim draw on threefold repetition automatically. Yeah, I always like to do that. Move confirmation only during correspondence games. That's how I have it set up. You can set it up in all different time controls. Confirm resignation and draw offers. Absolutely. Your castling method, whether you move the king or move the king onto the rook or whatever. You can input moves with the keyboard. You can input moves with your voice. Snap arrows to valid moves. That's when you're kind of using analysis and it shows you, well, I could move the bishop here. I'm drawing arrows. It's going to put them on a valid move so you don't get some random diagonal going to a square that a knight can't actually move to, for example. You can choose whether to have a message that says good game, well played upon defeat or draw. And you can choose whether your scroll button on your mouse replays the moves on the board as well. So we're going through this in quite granular detail. Those two pages especially, I think, are very, very worth me doing that. The other kind of pages you can have a look through mostly yourself. You can choose your privacy settings, whether players follow you, challenge you, message you, all these kind of different things. You can choose your notification settings. So what parts of the site you get notified by, what content you get notified by. I mean, personally for this, I like to just know when I've got a new message, but I don't really want it coming up on my device. I want to be able to log into Lichess and see it. So I normally tend to turn off device notifications, right? Like this. Apart from maybe correspondence game updates, because if I've got a move waiting for me, then I might want to know about that. And the rest of the stuff I'll see on site on this bell icon up here. So you can choose if you get emails about your correspondence games and if the bell notification has a sound or not. I choose no for the sound. So yeah, there's loads of other things. You can look at kid mode if you're a kid or a parent or a teacher. Change your username, change your password, change your email. You can set up two-factor authentication. There's other things to do with API access, security, and network, and the DGD board. So if you've got a board, an electronic board where you can make the moves on the board and it shows up on Lichess, you can connect that by the DGT board function here. And there's also the function here if you want to close your account. So those are all the various different things underneath your preferences menu here. While we're on this menu, you can also navigate here to your inbox. So if I click here, these are any messages that I've been sent, or I can start a new conversation myself by searching for something here. I haven't, followed anyone or anything like that, so I'm not going to look at that now. But when you go to someone's profile, there is a function to message them directly from their profile as well. But those messages would all be shown in this inbox here. And you can choose to sign out at any time as well. I hope the level of detail that I was going into there on those menus is useful to you. Obviously, feel free to skip around. And if in the future you decide, oh, I want to know more about the preference menus on Lichess, you know you can come back and rewatch this section, even if you skipped it this time. Everything will be timestamped in the description below as well, so you can go and check out what is actually relevant for you. I probably should have mentioned that a bit earlier in the video, but there you go. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back and look at the menu that runs across the top left-hand side of the site. So let's click on our Lichess logo to go back to the home page, and we're going to look through Play, Puzzles, Learn, Watch, Community, Tools, and Donate. The Play menu gives you another option to create a lobby game, just like we've already looked at on the Lobby tab here, or the Create a Lobby game here, or the Custom button here. You can create a game by pressing here, and it takes you to the same menu as you'd get if you press the button over here on the right. We will play a game, and I will use the custom menu to set that game up in a bit. You can then go and check out different types of tournaments. So you've got arena and Swiss tournaments. Arena tournaments are ones that run for a certain time frame, so like 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever. Swiss tournaments are where you have a certain number of players and you get a pairing, and then in the next round, people who won play another winner. People who drew play someone else who drew, people who lost play someone who lost, etc. So if I want to check out what arena tournaments are going on, I can do that here. It's got a calendar, all the different tournaments that are available. It's got a leaderboard of players who are doing really well, different menus for tournaments you've created, your tournament calendar, arena history, FAQs, leagues and streamer battles, and different Lichess tournaments for all kinds of different variants and stuff as well. You can even check out other tournaments that have already finished over here. You can create your own tournament by pressing the button there. The other tournament type is the Swiss tournament. So if I click here, these are different Swiss tournaments that you can join. And again, it's got different, whether it's rapid or blitz or bullet or classical, lists of different tournaments that you can join, etc. So go and check that out more on your own if you're interested in that. The other part of the Play menu is simultaneous exhibition. So here I can go and see whether someone is offering simultaneous. So there might be someone like a high rated player, like this person is 2355, 2424. There might be a titled player like National Master, Candidate Master, or Grandmaster even. There's an IM who are offering simultaneous gameplay against site users. So you can go and check those out and join one of those on the Play simultaneous exhibitions. The next tab is the Puzzles page. Now, if I click Puzzles, this takes me to the first one here, just the normal Puzzles page. And I am met with a puzzle that I can then solve. So at the moment, you can see each puzzle's got a code. It's got how many times it's been played. It's got the game that this puzzle was taken from. It's got my rating, which is currently set to 1500. That's kind of the default starter rating for all parts of Lichess. You can choose different puzzle themes to set up, whether you want to go by opening or improvement areas from your games. You can look at your puzzle history, etc. You can choose whether you want to look at different types of endgame, tactics from different openings, different motifs like double check or forks or whatever that might be. There's absolutely loads of options to configure what types of puzzles you want to solve. This is really useful. You can go, okay, I want to solve mate in twos or mate in threes or whatever, or different checkmate themes. It really is vast how much control you have over what you choose to train. Okay, special moves, different goals like trying to get to equality or crushing your opponent, things like this. I mean, it really is very, very cool. I must admit, when using puzzles on Lichess, I've only ever really just used healthy mix, bit of everything, and checkmate puzzles just for a bit of a warm-up before games. There are a whole list of openings, again, so choose puzzles by opening here. You've got a puzzle dashboard. You have to play some puzzles first before you go and train through the puzzles that you've maybe got wrong. Areas for improvement, more statistics, again, based on puzzles that you've solved either correctly or incorrectly. It will show, stats on your strengths that you perform best. It will show your puzzle history and puzzles that are taken from your actual games. Or you can search for a Lichess user to search what puzzles have been taken from their games. So if I go to puzzles, like I said, I've got this just healthy mix puzzle. It's a bit of everything. And this is a checkmate in one. I can see that the queen is firing over here with the knight firing over here and the king has nowhere to go. So just by looking for checks, captures, threats, I can see that check is actually checkmate. And there we go. I won my first puzzle. I got plus 58 rating. which will go up and up and up until I lose one, and then I'll lose a load of rating, and then it will eventually balance out. You can vote whether you like this puzzle or not, whether you thought it was good, etc. And then it has like an analysis tab. You can continue training your puzzles. If I click on this one, it takes me to a new puzzle. So, boom, 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 and I win a rook. In the puzzles menu, underneath your puzzles, your themes, and your dashboard that we've looked at, you can then choose some different games that you might want to play. So you might want to do a puzzle streak, or a puzzle storm, or a puzzle racer. Now, puzzle racer is where you play a race against someone else on the site. So either just a random player or one of your friends. So you basically have to solve a certain number of puzzles in a certain time frame, and whoever solves the most is the winner, or whoever doesn't get struck out first is the winner. You've also got Puzzle Storm. Puzzle Storm is where you've got 3 minutes to solve as many puzzles as you can. You get a high score. And then there's also Puzzle Streak, which is solve as many puzzles as you can. There's no time limit, and again, you get a high score. And I think as soon as you make one wrong puzzle on Lichess, then that's your streak over. Just out of interest, let's now go back to my puzzle dashboard now that I've played a couple of puzzles. And you can see that it's changed. I've got 2 puzzles played. I've got a provisional performance rating. I haven't played enough puzzles yet for it to give me an actual rating, so there's a question mark next to it. And you will see this with your gameplay ratings as well when you start out for like the first 10 games or so in each time format. It shows me that I've solved 100% of the 2 puzzles that I have played, and some other information here. There's also a place where I can see the time frame within that I've played those puzzles. So this is puzzles played within the last 30 days. I can select puzzles played just within 1 day or 90 days, whatever I want. There still isn't anything within the improvement areas tab. I still haven't played enough. There isn't anything in the strengths tab either, but in the puzzle history, I can now see the 2 puzzles that I've solved. And this is really useful, especially if you get a load of puzzles wrong. You can go to your puzzle history page, look at those puzzles, analyze them, ask yourself why you got them wrong, and improve your play that way. The next menu is the Learn menu. This is especially useful if you're just starting to play chess. It will teach you how to play the game. The Chess Basics page has a load of different lessons, from how the pieces move through fundamentals like capturing pieces or checkmate, setting up the board, castling, en passant, it's obligatory, stalemate, loads of other different things, and then what to practice next to become a stronger player. So that's the basics, lots of cool lessons. So let's just have a look. Let's play a lesson. Let's do the Rook. Oh, it's got music and everything. So in the Rook, it's a powerful piece. Are you ready to command it? Let's go. It shows you where the Rook moves to. You move the piece, and awesome, you have won that level. Next one, boom, boom, etc. And you go through the whole lot, the Rook, the Bishop, the Queen, the Knight, the Pawn, to learn how all of the pieces move. So you can choose them here as well. Let's go to a fundamentals lesson. So let's look at mate in 1. So here we go. It's going to teach me how to do checkmate in 1. Let's go. It shows me where to go. That's checkmate in 1. The next lesson, that's checkmate in 1. So this is how the lessons work. It tracks your progress. You can access, other themes and stuff from the menu here. You don't have to always click back to this page here. And then, as you can see, when you start completing things, it tracks your progress. So here I completed 2 of 7 mate in 1 puzzles, 2 of 6 of the Rook, and it will add this to all the different categories as I work through them. The next thing is the practice page. So this is kind of an expansion of that, really, but you can practice these fundamentals, you can practice these techniques, you can practice these principles, you can practice different tactical elements, like it teaches you about pins and skewers and forks, double checks, etc. Advanced tactical motifs as well. So, if you're not someone who is that au fait with tactics, you haven't really studied what these things are before, rather than jumping into the puzzles that we looked at, you might want to come in and check out these lessons to learn all about things like deflection and counter check and all this kind of stuff you might need to know to solve puzzles effectively. These work in a similar way. So let's choose the pin. And here it shows me that the knight is on the same diagonal as the king. So in order to pin it and win it, I need to move my bishop, and I go like so, and it pins the knight to the king, and the knight is lost. So that's how the practice side of it goes. I find this is especially useful for endgames, advanced tactics. They're pawn endgames, looking at key squares, opposition, and then rook endgames. So if you are, at a point where you're learning things like the Lucina position or the Philidor position, this gives you these positions and some kind of basic information of what you need to do to build your bridge and do the Lucina, etc. These are really, really useful for drilling those kind of positions, which can come up quite a lot. The next page on the Learn menu is the coordinates page. This is basically a game where you can practice your ability to find specific squares on the board. So you find the square or name the square game. Let's try the find the square game. I've got 30 seconds. Let's play the white pieces in this. And we're basically going to be given a load of coordinates and you have to choose the right square. So let's see how I get on. Start training. And it's going to give me D3. So D3 is there, C2 is there, B8 is there, C4 is there, D5 is there, H3, D2, G5, E1, G1. I'm not the quickest at this by any stretch of the imagination. But here, E8, sorry, got it the wrong way around. E2, A2, A2 again, sorry, I went the wrong way around. That's not A, that's B. Oh man, that's terrible. So there you go, you get it wrong as well sometimes. And there you go, I got a score of 16. So that wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but there we go. That's how you do coordinates. Or you can play the name the game square, and this basically shows you a highlight of which square you then have to name. You have to type it in, or you can use the speech function to name the square to play that game. That's pretty fun and useful if you're starting to learn chess notation, for example. The next page on the Learn tab is the Study page. And this is my favorite part of Lichess. It is the main reason why I think it is the only tool that you need as an improving player, because it is a great, free, accessible space where you can study chess as much as you want, either in public or privately, in collaboration with other people, etc. It gives you space to save your opening repertoires, PGN notations, set up positions, and analyze them using the Open Explorer, the Masters database, the engine analysis. It really is a very, very well thought out and brilliantly designed function, to be honest with you. We are on the All Studies page at the moment. So this is all public studies that I might want to look at. I can select newest added, most popular, etc. And, let's say I want to learn the Vienna Gambit. There's a study here on it. I can click on this, and this person has set up a study with all these different chapters about how to play the Vienna Gambit. So here's some information about the Vienna Gambit, and it says to play the move E4. So we play E4, and that's so cool. It's a great move. Next one, that's what black plays. Your next move is going to be knight to C3, and this is the Vienna opening. So this is a study that someone has set up where it kind of takes you through the steps to learn a specific thing. If I want to save this study for future reference, I can scroll down here and I can click the heart icon. And now if I go back, I've got a My Favorite Studies page. If I click here, this has saved my Vienna Gambit study that I like to learn from. I've also got a My Studies page. I haven't created a study yet, so let's do that. You go to the plus icon over here and you create a study. You can choose an icon for it, an emoji. I'm going to choose the alien because it's the first one. I can give it a name. I can set its visibility. I'm going to choose invite only because it's a demo. And there's all kinds of other parameters here that you can choose. I'm actually going to make another video, my next video, which is going to focus entirely on Lichess studies. It's going to be how to choose and create and maintain an opening repertoire using this page. So I will go into a lot more detail about how to do this in that video. But just for now, just to briefly give you an overview, I've selected all my parameters. I have to create a chapter. I can either have just an empty standard position or choose a variant. I can orientate it for white and black, choose my analysis mode. So practice with computer, hide next moves, interactive lesson. That's what the Vienna study was. It was an interactive lesson. I'm going to stick with normal analysis. Or I can do a board editor to set up a particular position, start from this position, for example. Or I can choose a URL of a game that I want to start from, an FEN position, or a PGN file. If I just start with empty and create chapter, now I've got my study. I've got an engine that I can use, which I can toggle on and off over here. I've also got a database. So this little book icon here shows me the opening explorer, but also a whole database of grandmaster level games that I can look at. So if I'm in a particular position after an opening, let's just put some random moves on the board, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and I'm studying the 2 Knights Scotch. I can go and look at some games that were played by Magnus Carlsen or whoever you may or may not want to look at from that list to see how they played this opening. And like I said, we'll look at that in more detail in my specifics opening video. These moves are now saved, so if I go back, right, and then let's refresh this page. Now you can see in my studies, my alien study is here. If I click on that, all the moves that I entered in have now saved into the study. If I want to try a different variation, so let's say instead they play bishop to c5, you can see it now starts to build a variation tree over here. If I want someone else to be a part of the study, I can go to add members and invite them like this by searching for their username and inviting them from the study and give them various different permissions, whether they can just view it or whether they can edit it and all that kind of thing. There's a chat room as well. And also there is even a live talk function here because you might want to use this when discussing chess with a friend, or if you're a coach and you're giving a lesson, you're using this environment, you can do a voice chat directly from Lichess. So you can both be looking at the study that you're a member of and talking about it at the same time. So there's a lot of other stuff here that we could go into. Like I said, I'm going to do a whole nother video on this where I'll go into things in much more detail. And I really hope you come back to check that out in the future. The next thing is the watch page. Now, I will be completely honest with you. This is a part of the site that I have literally never used. So if you want to go and check out various different broadcasts, events that they're talking about, tournaments that they're broadcasting, look at different FIDE players. If you want to look at Lichess TV in more detail, these are all the kind of different top-rated games that are being played. If you want to go to check out different streamers' information or have a look at their video library of all these kind of different chess lessons that are mainly pulled off of YouTube by the looks of things, then feel free to do that in your own time. I have probably never clicked on this before making this video. The next tab is the community tab. And here is where you have access to a whole community of other chess players. So players, this is a list of players on the site. You've got a leaderboard, you've got a rating stats page. You can look at different tournament winners. You can look at different tournament shields. Not quite sure exactly what that is. There's different bots online that you could play. So you could go and play against Maya 1 or 5 or Leela P-Sods or any of these bots other than just the standard kind of engine opponent you can select on Lichess. And then there's a list of FIDE players here as well who you can follow and check out what they're up to. Underneath players, you've then got your friends list. I'm not actually friends with anybody on the site yet because I have only just started the profile. So let's add someone. If I go up to this search function here and I know the username of my friend, I can search for that and then add them. I'm going to choose my friend Vlad G92. Here he is. This is Vlad. Vlad is a Romanian chess player. He is a chess coach and a generally very awesome person. He's doing all kinds of cool things in chess at the moment. He writes a lot of blogs. I believe he might even be writing a book. I've had some chess lessons from him in the past and learned a lot from him. And, he's a very, very cool person. And you could follow him yourself on Lichess to go and check out his blogs and the information that he posts. Definitely worth doing. But here is his profile. Now you can see the difference. If you think back to what my profile looked like before, the difference here. He's got all these different ratings for his various gameplay and puzzles and all this kind of stuff. He's got all this other content of the blogs that he's posted. He's got a list of his activity so I can see what he did yesterday on the site. I can go and check out how many games he played, puzzles that he won, all that kind of stuff. I can go and even look at his games if I wanted to. I could deep dive into all the different games that he's played and kind of study what he has done on the board. And there's his various bits of information, such as we put in before. So again, if you've got a friend, you want to go and check out their profile, or if you're just checking out someone else's profile, this is kind of what it will look like. Have a bit of a dive into what is available to you to see and play around with it. What I want to do is I want to add him as a friend on the site. So I'm going to go up here and click on follow. And you can see this is next to a load of other options, like I can watch his live games. I can challenge him to a game. I can block him if I need to, if he's causing me issues. I can send him a message, or I can even gift him the patron wings by donating on his behalf, etc. And, if he is being rude to me, I can also report him to the moderators, but it's Vlad, so he's not going to. However, I want to follow him. And now that I've followed him, if I go back to my friends page, here is Vlad right there. And also, if I go back to the home page, I can't see anything yet, but the next time that Vlad replies to a forum comment or posts a blog, it will come up on a feed in this space here. In the community menu under friends, you've got teams. So these are different Lichess teams that you can join and play team matches for, etc. This is another part of the site that you can go and check out more on your own. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this, but there's a list of teams that you're a member of, teams that you are in control of, all teams on the site, so you can go and try and choose one, or you can create a new team here. The next page is the forum, and this is where you can join conversations, you can meet other people, you can discuss chess topics, you can give feedback on Lichess, you can talk about game analysis, you can do off-topic discussions for things that aren't to do with chess. If I click in the general chess discussion, here I can see all these different forum topics that I might want to comment on. So let's say I want to talk about which Sicilian I want to play. This is something we are also going to cover in our next video. But here, this person has asked a question and other people have commented on it. And when you start commenting on a forum topic, it will then notify you if that's replied to or if someone else adds to the comment. And it will also appear in your feed here, new activity on that forum post. I do need to point out that you can't create a forum post or join a discussion as a brand new user. You have to play a certain number of games. I think there might be some other criteria of how long you've used the site before you can do that. The next page under community is blog. And here's where you can read articles written by loads of other site users. There's articles written by Lichess themselves, which will always have this in the top corner. The author is always up there. I can read about Tata Steel, for example. I can scroll down. I can look at loads of other different kind of blog topics like so. I can learn about the fried liver attack. I can learn about prophylaxis. I can read to my heart's content, as it were. You can show the best ones. I guess this is done by rating from other people who have liked this blog post. You can select all and just see a list of all blog posts that are being posted by different people. I can choose all languages or just have things within my language. And here I've got a search function where I can search by topic. I can look through the month by topic, those by Lichess, and see blogs that I've already liked or that are by my friends, or my own blog if I've published one. So if I select on my blog and I want to create one, I can click this plus icon. And it says here I can't do this yet because I'm a brand new user, but after a few games and a couple of days, I'll be able to write my own articles if I like. And that's definitely something that I will be doing with this new profile later on. So that's the community menu. The final menu before we get to the big yellow donate here is tools. And in tools, this is, again, another reason why I think Lichess is so good. The tools that it offers for you to study and improve your game, they're really, really excellent. The analysis board here, if I turn the engine on, obviously I can get my engine analysis. I can set up my position via an FEN code or by entering a PGN here. I can choose my variant. I can turn on the masters database and the opening explorer. I can look at the Lichess database. So this is games that are played on Lichess by all users. This is also very useful. Or I can search for a specific player. That takes a little bit of time to load, I've always noticed, so I'm not going to hover on that too long. I've got various different settings for the engine here as well that I can play around with. So this is a really, really good analysis page. If I'm analyzing and I want to save it to my study, by clicking on these three lines here, I get another menu where I can do things like flip the board, for example, or I can, edit the board position or continue against the computer from the position that I'm in. But if I want to add it to my own study, I can click this button here and I can choose which study I want to put it in. And now it's chapter 2 in the study that we created earlier. So that's also pretty cool. So yeah, the analysis board is very, very powerful. And, it's running Stockfish 17.1 at depth 65 currently for me here. So that's pretty good. I think that's kind of all you need really up to a high kind of top player level. Anything up to, well, I'm 1800. So let's say anything up to 1800. That's what you need. Under tools, the next thing is openings. So here you can search for a particular opening. I always pick on Sicilian, so I can look at the different kind of Sicilian openings. Let's look at the Sicilian defense Sozin attack, which is against the Scheveningen. And here it gives me information about this opening. I can train puzzles from it. I can look through the Explorer even more, and I can study this opening to my heart's content using this page. Then you've got a board editor. So this is where you can set up a position, right? So if I clear the board and then I want to have a knight here, I've got to put kings on because then it won't be usable. Let's say I've got a knight here, and then let's say he's got a queen over here, and then I've got a rook there, and whatever you want to put on. This is my position. I can choose whose turn it is to play. I can choose whether casting is still allowed, en passant. There'll be options for that when it's applicable, I guess, for the position. All these kind of different things. And now I can either choose to study from an analysis board or continue against the computer from this position, or add this position to a study as well. You can then import a game. So if I've got a game PGN, I can import that here. Same functions, add it to a study, analyze it, continue against the computer, or get a computer analysis of that game as well. And there's also an advanced search, so I can look through players, ratings, opponents, what variant they're playing, what mode they were playing, whether it's casual or rated game, how many number of moves it was, how long it took, the result, the date, all these kind of different things, and search for different games like so. Okay, so really, we've gone through the whole site. I haven't gone into detail in some areas. I've probably gone into too much detail in other areas, but I really, really wanted to give a comprehensive overview of Lichess and what it has to offer. And my hope is that with this channel and with this new profile, over time, I can show more of how it can work for an improving player, but also more of how it can work for you if you just want to enjoy chess. A big part of my personal chess journey at the moment is trying to let go of needing to improve all the time and just enjoying the game for what it is, a beautiful, beautiful thing that we get to all share together. And Lichess can really, really help us to do that. And obviously, one way to do that is to play games. So what I'd like to finish this video with is a game example, and then we'll just have a quick look about how to then go and analyze that game afterwards and see how we get on. This will be the first game that I play on this profile. So no matter what happens, I'm going to publish it. I'm not going to play a rated game. I'm going to save that when I get into talking about training and using Lichess as a training tool in another future video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the create a lobby game function. I'm going to set it as a casual game, and I'm going to choose 2-1. And the reason I'm going to choose 2-1 is because this video is already very long. I don't want to then add a half an hour, 1 hour long game onto the end of it. It does mean that I may not be so chatty during the game because my ability to play bullet is dubious at the best of times, let alone when I'm playing, commentating it live as well. So let's just have a go and see what we get. So you can see now my game is in the lobby at the top here, and we've got a game. Here we go. Mariosian. So we're going to play E4. Mariosian versus Tattoo Knight. And he's playing the Caro-Kann. So let's go for our Panov attack. This is an opening that I'm going to talk about in my next video as well. Something I've only just started learning. So I'm really not that au fait with it at the moment. So I'm already completely out of my knowledge and everything. And I think we're just going to develop our king side. Let's get my king out of the middle. Knight's coming in here. So now, do I have things like pinning and jumping in? Is that something that could maybe be a thing? In fact, actually, maybe I missed a trick earlier. Maybe I could have played queen to b3 and tap up this pawn and this pawn at the same time. So there is that. I'm just going to develop. I think I've missed that trick, and I'm just gonna keep developing this play what is more of a kind of normal game. Let's put the bishop out here, and he's just played this one. So yeah, I mean, it's just going to end up being kind of quite a normal game, really. Let's get my rook on this open or semi-open file. I have got an isolated queen's pawn, so at some point I want to try and maybe use that as a battering ram. But the point is I want to be controlling this square, because if you've got an IQP, you want to be controlling the square in front of it. If you're defending against the IQP, you want to be blockading using the square in front of it. So that is something worth knowing, I think. So I'm going to play queen to b3 now. I probably should have played it earlier, just to add more onto this square. At some point, I'm going to think about engineering this move. I might put my rook on the d file first so it faces the queen before I play that. And he's now obviously trying to remove a defender of that square, which is very, very good, you know. I mean, one good thing about my rook being here is I could drop the bishop back and swap this one off. This is actually a very active piece. Then maybe that allows his knight to just kind of come in. But actually, maybe you've got tactics against this undefended bishop then. So yeah, I'm going to run out of time. So let me just speed up a little bit. I'm going to play this. Yeah, I thought he might play that. I'm going to, do you know what? It's just an example game. I'm going to give up the exchange. I'm going to jump my knight in. He can take this rook. So let's pre-move the capture. Actually, I've just seen that he can also, no, he can't take that one. Can't take that one. I hope he does take that one. He didn't take that one. Right, let's take here. He goes there. Let's take there. I'm just playing really quickly now, not really analyzing this much because I'm on, no time at all, and he's still got 2 minutes. So this might be a total car crash of a game from my perspective, but we shall see. Let's just bring this over to defend the bishop, which I'm assuming he's going to capture, which he does. He's probably going to push this now. He might push this now. I'm not sure. I've got to worry about my king, because I do have back rank issues going on over here as well. So that's another thing. Hopefully, maybe he can push this. Can he push this? Maybe I want to make him push this by pushing the A pawn up the board. Let's give my king some luft, because I don't like the fact that I could get back ranked. But if he plays anything like this, and obviously I can win my exchange back. Let's go here. Would be nice if I could win my exchange back, but I don't think I'm going to, although he has just undefended this point here, so maybe I could do something with that. Let's just drop this one back, see if he notices, which I really hope he doesn't, because that would be lovely, but I'm still probably not winning anyway, even if I manage to win that pawn. And I've got 0.1, so I'm going to run out of time. He's probably going to try and flag me with something. Let's see what he does. I've got to really, really snap this move off. Okay. Yeah, I ran out of time. Okay, so that was a bit of a poor game, but I just wanted to show how a game kind of looks, how it feels, and I lost that game, but whatever, doesn't really matter in this particular video. Went on to my opponent though, he found good moves and played well. And now go to the analysis board. And we looked at analysis under tools before. This is basically exactly the same, except now it has a bit of game information to work from. So it shows the final position, how I am completely losing. It's -3 according to the engine. I've got 5 lines of analysis based on the moves that I could make and how they could go. Here is the game notation here. And, if I scroll down, it goes recommended puzzle training, Caro-Kann defense, Panov attack. I can ask for a computer analysis. I can look at the move times. There's a cross table, which is, how our scores rack up. So if I ever play this guy again, depending on the result, these numbers will change. And then I can also choose to share and export this. I can, download it as a GIF or copy the PGN and share it kind of that way. So that is the analysis of this game. If I choose request computer analysis, this will run Stockfish 17.1 on the server, and it will provide me with an analysis and a flow graph like so. So here you can see that I made 3 inaccuracies, I made 2 blunders, 81% accuracy. So that wasn't actually too bad. He had 2 inaccuracies and only 1 blunder and 88% accuracy. And if I want to learn from my mistakes, I can click here and it will show me, different kind of puzzles and things that are associated to this game. So now I want to use the game analysis to learn from my mistakes. Let's start with the opening. And because this is just a quick demo game played online, I'm going to turn the engine on and I'm going to open the Masters database. If this was a longer tournament game or something that I played, I probably would analyze it over the board myself first to try and work things out before I consult the engine. But here, we'll just do a quick analysis. If we go through the opening, it's a Caro-Kann, it's a Panov attack, a new opening that I'm just learning, so I want to see where we first deviate from known theory. And my opponent does that with the move bishop to f5, and it's been given an inaccuracy because of a reason that I actually thought of in the game a few moves later. I played the move knight to f3, which is inaccurate, and then only after they played e6 later on did I realize that queen b3 might have been an idea. And actually, that is the top move here. If I play queen b3 in this position, I'm hitting this pawn and I'm hitting this pawn. After e6, then I can take, and I've got an advantage as white. So that is something that I would then maybe go and add to my study and remember for next time. The other moment in the game I just wanted to quickly look at was when I rashly sacrificed the exchange because I was already so low on time and just trying to do a demo for this video. So I gave up the rook for the bishop with the blunder, as you can see, knight e5. Yes, it's just bad. What I should play, again, bishop e2 is the right move to play here. So I blundered by giving up the exchange for the sake of it. And after this happens, you can see that black has a minus 1.7 kind of advantage. If you let the engine run all the way, then it'll give you the evaluation of minus 1.8. So I'm now losing as white. So that's how I would use the analysis to quickly kind of learn from the mistakes that I've made and try and put those into my memory, try and put those into my studies and be better when I get a similar position next time. I hope that look at Lichess's pages and functions was useful for you, and that if you're not already registered on the site, you are now inspired to go and sign up. And please do leave any questions you like in the comments below. My next video, as I already mentioned, will be a more in-depth look at the Lichess studies page, specifically focusing on how to choose, create and maintain an opening repertoire. So look out for that one. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.